Welcome to the Titus Timeout podcast. My name is Randy Zimmerman, and today I'll be discussing fan terminal induction ports. Now, I'll have to admit that this doesn't sound like a very interesting topic, but I do get lots of questions concerning the induction ports found on fan-powered terminal units. Let's start out by explaining what an induction port is and what it does. If you've ever been around fan-powered terminal units, you've seen them. It's the rectangular opening on the side of a unit. There's a primary inlet duct, a discharge duct, and an induction port. Cold primary air enters the unit through the primary inlet. The unit fan draws makeup air or heating air through the induction port, and the mixed air leaves the unit via the discharge duct. Induction ports are usually rectangular in shape and are often sized in such a way as to present the least amount of pressure drop. They are part of the return air path in a building. As primary air circulates throughout a room and mixes with room air, this return air exits the space through a return grill. This return air will then either enter the ceiling plenum through a return grill and eventually reach the air handler, or it may be drawn into the induction port of a fan-powered terminal unit. So what are the questions that people have? Question number 1. Can I duct an induction port back to a room? Yes, you can always duct an induction port back to the room. Just remember to design the duct for the lowest possible pressure drop to minimize the amount of fan shift that may occur in a series fan unit. Fan shift is a change in the fan air delivery that sometimes occurs when the primary damper modulates in a series fan unit. Any significant increase in pressure drop on the induction port is likely to aggravate any fan shift present in a particular unit design, resulting in a reduction in fan airflow as the primary damper closes. Question number 2. How will ducting an induction port affect the performance of a fan terminal? There are several things to bear in mind. First, any pressure drop created by the ducting will impact the fan performance just like additional discharge pressure. So if you selected a unit for a discharge pressure of 0.25 inches and the ducting adds 0.05 inches of pressure drop, you need to consult the manufacturer's literature to make sure that the fan can deliver the design airflow at 0.3 inches of pressure. Also be aware that it's a good idea to line the ducting with a sound absorbent material to reduce the chance of creating an additional sound path back to the room. Now let's move away from ducted induction ports and look at other issues. Question number 3, what about obstructions? What if I have a really tight installation and the induction port will be in close proximity to a wall? How close can a wall be to an induction port without causing problems? Well, there's a good guideline to follow in situations like this. Basically, so long as the wall isn't any closer than 1/2 of the equivalent diameter of the induction port opening, it shouldn't restrict airflow. Here's a formula that we can use to calculate this distance. First of all, we know that the area of the induction port opening can be calculated by simply multiplying the height by the width. We know that the area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. We know that half of the equivalent diameter would be the equivalent radius. So if we combine these two equations and solve for the radius, we get our distance. For example, if my induction port measures 20 inches by 16 inches, then the square root of 20 times 16 divided by pi equals 10 inches. This means that so long as my 20 by 16 inch induction port is no closer than 10 inches to the nearest wall, I shouldn't experience any restriction to airflow. Question number 4. What about filters on induction ports? Well, filters are a whole separate issue. They are widely misunderstood and worthy of a podcast of their own. Expect another podcast to cover terminal unit filters. Thank you for tuning into our podcast. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and thanks for taking a time out with us.